Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is the Northwest Council for Computer Education Conference First Time Attendee webinar. And it's a real pleasure to see you wherever you are out in the Pacific Northwest or beyond. And it's really my pleasure tonight to start off by introducing Mike Augustinelli, NCCE's Tech Savvy Teacher in Residence, and also the Assistant Director and Curriculum Director of Montana Digital Academy.
Well, thank you very much, Jason. Let me return the favor and introduce the audience to Dr. Jason Neifer, who's our Tech Savvy Administrator in Residence and my co-worker here at the Montana Digital Academy, where we're stationed in Missoula, Montana. And we're excited to talk to all you first-time attendees and anyone watching this that's been part of the NCCE family about all the fun stuff we've got planned for you for this year's NCCE conference.
And it's been so exciting to watch it ramp up over the last couple of weeks. And we're just 2 weeks away at the time of this recording from NCCE 2026 in Seattle. So thanks for joining us today. Mike, why don't you talk a little bit about NCCE?
Oh, great. Thanks, Jason. So, NCCE is a professional learning organization. You may not know that they've done over 230 live and virtual training events, and they've been on that clip really every year since COVID. A big presence in professional learning across the country. There's a wonderful group of professional learning specialists that are out there training away from all ends of the country. So there's that piece of NCCE. We also have our annual conference, of course. It's the largest ed tech conference in the Northwest. I know Jason and I have been super proud to be a part of it for, going on a long time now, Jason. We've been doing this for a while, right, buddy?
So yeah, we have. Yeah, it doesn't feel that long, but here we are.
Here we are. The years, they keep on turning. So we really are a year-round community of educators. And I think, the thing that I love the most about NCCE is it does feel like one big family. And this annual conference is just a great opportunity for us to get to see a lot of folks we only see once a year, do a lot of learning and a lot of growing. And it's one of the many things we love about the organization.
Absolutely. And while you're at the conference, if you care to share your thoughts or something exciting that's going on in a session, on the vendor floor, maybe in the evening when you're exploring the lovely town of Seattle, please feel free to tag NCC at hashtag NCC26. We are all over the socials, and so you can see us on Twitter and Blue Sky, LinkedIn, Instagram, and many other social networks. Feel free to tag us anywhere there, so we can see what you're doing at NCCE 2026. And while we're on that subject, there is one piece of technical advice that we would like to give you as part of this process. You may not believe this, but it's actually quite a lift to make sure that you have great Wi-Fi access at a place like the Seattle Convention Center. And so as we are there this year, a couple of things to keep in mind. We want you to post, we want you to access, but remember, we're bringing in a large horde of tech-savvy teachers into the Seattle Convention Center, which means that it is unlike any other group that they serve in the many conferences all year long. So do us a couple of solids here. Don't create your own network, right? Like if you have a MiFi with you, I'd prefer if you just use the Wi-Fi instead so it doesn't complicate the wireless reach. Don't turn on personal hotspots while you're in the convention center. If you think you're going to need a piece of software for the conference, download it ahead of time so that, perhaps at your hotel in the evening, so that we aren't racking up a bandwidth with software downloads. And maybe don't stream unless you absolutely need to, right, to make sure that everyone has a great Wi-Fi conference experience. And Mike's going to have a half dozen devices there. I'm going to have a half dozen devices there. We're both going to work really hard to make sure we're only using one at a time, as opposed to the 6 or 7 we might be using at any time otherwise. And we'd ask you to do the same. So let's move on and talk a little bit about the general membership meeting.
Yeah, so we're going to run through some different opportunities that exist at the conference. And, one of the things we always like to highlight is the general membership meeting. We'll just start with the one thing that's pretty awesome about it. There's some awesome prizes given away at the end. So let's start there. That's one piece that's really fun. Also, it's an opportunity for you all to meet the board members of NCCE, without who we wouldn't be able to run the organization as it is, let alone the conference. So this is our time to hear from the board members. Also find out who's up for elections and inform yourself a bit about the business of NCCE. There's a little preview to someone that might be joining us at the membership meeting here on this slide. That's all I'm going to say about that. But if you could set your schedule on Friday from 1 to 1:50 in room 608, that's where the membership meeting will happen. Again, we'd love to see you there. I really appreciate, the board has worked really hard to make it fun and interactive, and also we do give away a lot of prizes. So we'd love for you to mark that on your schedule and see your attendance there, especially as a first timer. It's a good opportunity to be recognized and really jump into the NCCE family. Jason, you want to talk a little bit about some of the summits that we have at this year's conference?
I would love to. And as we've done in the past, we are thrilled to have some specialized events on the first day of the conference. That's Wednesday of this year. And we have 5 summits that are available throughout that day. A cybersecurity summit, a career and technical education summit, an artificial intelligence summit, a teacher librarian summit, always a popular event at NCCE, and also a leadership summit. And I believe that those are still able to be, most of these are still able to be enrolled in. Contact NCCE for details. But more importantly, if you like what you see there, give us that feedback on the survey form so that we can plan these in future years. And I will tell you that I have never met a more responsive conference team than the folks that run the NCCE conference every year, because they really are here to make it a great experience for you, the attendee. And things like the specialized summits are a great part of the feedback we receive from you, the audiences that the conference serves. So please, not only attend, but also give us feedback on how these are working for you.
Yeah,
Speaking
and
of,
Jason, before we jump into the sponsors of the summits, let me just also reiterate that on the website at ncce.org, under the conference section is what you click on. There's full detailed summit descriptions under the summits section. And then, as Jason mentioned, when you go into your registration, you have the ability to add that on as an add-on. So look for that, and feel free to dive into a fuller detailed description about each summit if any of these feel interesting to you.
great. Thanks, Mike. And hey, speaking of, these summits don't happen on their own, just with registration costs. They are always highly specialized and really well planned summits, and so that requires some assistance. So, Mike, why don't you talk about some of our summit sponsors?
Yeah. So for our AI summit, we have School AI as the sponsoring partner. They're very thankful for their sponsorship to allow us to do that summit. And then at the Cybersecurity Summit, we've got EdNetics, MGT, and ClassLink sponsoring that summit opportunity as well. And then, Jason, I think you've got the CTE Summit.
I do. Our CTE sponsors this year include Magic School, Prodigy Learning, Sphero, and Maya.
Great. And our Teacher Librarian Summit, familiar sponsor that has been a long time sponsor and friend of NCCE, Mackin, is once again sponsoring that learning opportunity. And then the Leadership Summit is sponsored by Tech and Learning. And again, these summit sponsorships are so important. It helps us put these full, deeper learning experiences, multiple hours together. And we're so thankful for the sponsorship to make this happen. Another opportunity for you all as you attend is once again, NCCE will have the opportunity to get some industry certifications through Certiport. All of the exams will be in room 309. Some that might be interesting of the there's a big long list of Microsoft certifications, Google certifications, Swift certifications, Adobe, Autodesk, Unify, Intuit, Cisco. I can go on and on and on. There's multiple opportunities for certification. Some of the certifications are even free. And so if that's something that you're interested in, Micro K-12 has been a sponsor of the event this year, and we're so thankful to give this opportunity to all of our attendees to get those certifications and level up your skills. So definitely Wednesday of the conference in room 309. Check that out. There is some testing available on Thursday as well from like 11 to 2 p.m. So there's plenty of opportunities to do that testing. All of that, again, is happening in room 309. And again, this is made possible by Micro K-12, and we're so thankful for their support of this process, as we know industry certifications are a big deal. And the fact that you can get them for free is even a bigger deal for educators. So would really encourage you to check that out and make some time in your schedule to learn about that a little bit more. Jason, it's keynote time. Let's talk about our keynoters.
Yes, very excited about this year's keynoters. I think they're going to bring a lot of interesting things to these presentations. And I would also say that Mike and I have both, spoken in front of large crowds before, and it's way harder than it looks, right? So when you get a great keynote, that's something to appreciate, and also we work very hard at NCCE every year to find new voices to bring into the process. So on Thursday morning at 9 a.m., our opening keynote is Bushra Amawala. And she is a Forbes 30 under 30, has keynoted across the United States, and has been a solution consultant at Google, and is an MBA candidate at the Kellogg School. And we're really excited about her presence there and the message that she's going to share at the conference. And Mike, what about our closing keynote?
Yeah, so our closing keynote is Tuan Nguyen. And if you are not familiar with Tuan, he's got an amazing, really amazing journey of how he came to be the CEO and president of the Avid Center. Very compelling story. One of the things I love about his talks and his keynotes are how much he talks about the impact teachers have had on his life and what he's been able to accomplish because of teachers. I think you're going to love his message, and it's really one that's inspiring and a reminder of the difference that each and every one of us educators makes every single day. So make sure you set time in your schedule to join us from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Friday, February 27th to listen to Tuan's keynote, and I can't wait for it.
I like to talk about the exhibit hall, and the exhibit hall is always an incredibly important part of the conference. And I want to make a couple notes here. One of the reasons why the conference exists is because sponsors are willing to talk to our attendees and pay a price to do that. It helps keep the conference costs much lower than they would be otherwise. And I know from my experience, and I've been to an awful lot of NCCE conferences, as has Mike, going back literally 27 years, I think, goes when I first attended this conference. And I've had just really great conversations with vendors on the vendor floor. It will be open most of the day on Thursday after the open keynote, including a blitz at 10 a.m. and then a celebration in the late afternoon with prizes. And then on Friday, it opens again at 10 a.m. It goes to 3 with the blitz at 10 a.m. And stop by and talk to vendors, even if you aren't in a position to purchase at this point. If you're just doing initial conversations, or you want to take back expertise back to your district, the vendors that NCCE works with are really world class and provide excellent opportunities to educate you on their products and also the work that they do. So we would strongly suggest that you visit those particular booze throughout the conference, especially during the Blitz, because there will be opportunities for prizes.
Well, and Jason, we always got to share this pro tip. I know you and I have used this strategy over the years, but you know what every educator needs in their classroom is extra pencils and pens.
Yes.
And the exhibit hall is a wonderful way to stock up on those essential devices for your classroom. I used to, the ones that were silly or fun, I would give out as prizes in some of my elementary classrooms, and it set me up for quite a while. So in addition to the great conversations and learning about all of the great tech tools and products, get a little swag for yourself and your students. That's part of the game as well. And I know that all the vendors in the vendor hall are happy to share that piece, especially if they can have a little conversation with you. So use that pro strat as well.
Absolutely. And speaking of Mike, I believe that there are also some larger sponsors of the conference that deserve our shout out.
Yeah, so a lot of these have already been named, but we're going to name them again. As Jason mentioned, this conference just doesn't happen without our sponsors, and we're so incredibly pleased to have Micro K-12 as a Tier 1 sponsor this year. Micro K-12 is another organization that has sponsored and worked with NCCE for a long time, and their Tier 1 sponsorship is we're just really thankful for it. So make sure you stop by, thank them for their sponsorship, and learn how Micro K-12 can help you at your school.
And then our Tier 2 sponsors this year include Magic School, Colleague AI, School AI, and Prodigy Learning. And these are not only believers in professional learning for teachers, which is why they're sponsoring the NCCE conference, but also vendors in advanced technology spaces, and all of which would love to make your acquaintance at the conference, and also are interested in hearing from you, whether you're a classroom teacher, an IT director, a school administrator, a paraprofessional, a school librarian, whatever your role is. These vendors are interested in having conversations with you on how they can help you achieve your classrooms or district's goals.
And our Tier 3 sponsors are Certiport, ClassLink, Discovery Education, Seesaw, and Lightspeed. All of these sponsors are returning. And again, please stop by, say hi, learn what they have to offer, and give them a little bit of your face time. It means a lot to them, and it helps show the value of them spending their time and sponsorship here at the NCCE conference.
And we would be remiss if we didn't mention that Mike and I join up forces every year at NCCE to present what we think is a pretty outstanding presentation. It's our annual 30 and 50 this year with 100% more AI or something. We will be speaking on Thursday, and that says at 3 a.m. to 3:50 p.m. And I will not be going for 12 hours total. We're just going to speak until we drop on Thursday morning.
And so Jason, you caught the Easter egg. Good job, buddy. I put that in there to see. Now, as it turns out, as Jason said, yeah, we're not going to speak for actually more than 50 minutes on this subject, unless you get us in a corner, and then we'll talk about AI for literally 12 hours.
Yeah, totally. But Mike and I love this presentation every year. It's a little mix of some things we found interesting, along with some performance art, which we think goes a long way to spread the message of goodness in regards to educational technology. That will be 3 p.m. On Thursday at the conference, and look for more information in the program itself.
And then returning again in the exhibit hall Thursday from 4 to 5:30 is the NCCE after hours party. There will be entertainment, no host bar, prizes, and there's that character again. I wonder what's going to happen with that. The after hour party is sponsored by IBM and Foursquare, and very thankful for their sponsorship. We had a great time at the after hour party last year. There were some great prizes. I almost lost my voice shouting out all the prize winners as it was, but we had a great time. It's a fun kick in the pants. And again, there's some great prizes. So I hope you stick around for that before you hit the town in Seattle.
And finally, Mike, since you and I have been around for a while, we like to talk about, what our advice is for a good conference. So what would be your advice as an NCCE veteran on how to best explore this conference?
Yeah, so a couple things come to mind. If you're lucky enough to go with some colleagues, having a shared Word doc or a shared Google doc to collaborate in putting all of the great learning into one place so that you can bring it back to your school and district. It's a great way to make sure everything is captured. And if you are going with others, divide and conquer multiple sessions, right? That's one of the hardest things about conferences like this is that often in any hour, there's a lot of things you'd like to go to. So if you have a group with you, divide up and capture all those in a document. And then, I would also say if you're there by yourself, push yourself to be a little bit extroverted and make some connections, right? I mean, I think, as Jason and I said, we've been doing this for a long time. I can't tell you the amount of networking and people I've met that I then see in other contexts. It turns out the ed tech community is actually pretty small, and you start to really see a lot of the same faces over and over, which is awesome because it gives you the opportunity to build those connections and learn from others. If you go to a presentation that's particularly striking, feel free to go chat up the presenter at the end of the presentation. That's always a good connection piece, and they're always happy to connect. You may end up having to go out in the hall if the conversation goes a little long because the next one's coming in. But put yourself out there a little bit. I know Jason and I love the opportunity to meet new people. We love to hear about interesting things that are happening in your school and in your classroom. And the only way we hear that is if you have the courage to come up and say hi and introduce yourself, and we'd be happy to talk to you. So put yourself out there and have some fun. Jason, what are some things you'd give advice on here?
Yeah, I mean, I would double down on what you said about starting conversations. I will say that despite perhaps what I come off as during presentations, I am very shy, and it takes me sometimes a little bit to warm up to new people. But every time I've struck a conversation in a hallway with someone that seems to have some similar interest to me, it always benefits me and always delights me. And I think that even if you are a bit socially shy, and that you're there by yourself or you're in a new room and your crew is in another presentation, absolutely connect with others. And I think you'd be surprised about not only how friendly people will be. It doesn't ever feels like that, especially if you aren't typically introducing yourself to strangers. And then also definitely strike up a conversation with presenters. Bring business cards with you, even if even the business card itself isn't all that fancy. It doesn't matter. A name and an email address is really good enough to start a conversation later. I know that Mike and I tend to get 4 or 5 outreaches after the conference is over with that oftentimes turn into interesting collaborations and conversations later. And we really, 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 really believe that the social connections you make here is worth the conference all by itself. And then the professional learning and the work with the vendors is just that much more that you can experience. I would also suggest that you hang out in the hallway before and after presentations, that there's oftentimes excellent discussions there. Introduce yourself to people that even you think wouldn't want to talk to you or seems to be a little lying to talk to them. I got a chance to talk with Dan Rather a couple of years ago when he was a keynote speaker at the conference. It was the best 42 seconds of the conference for me because I got to talk to someone that brings so much experience to it. And there's plenty of opportunities to talk to people across the conference during the conference. And the last piece of advice I would also give you is the rule of 2 feet always applies to a conference. If a session isn't working for you, or if it's not what you thought it would be, or if it was missed advertised, leave and go to a different session, right? There's no
Mhm.
reason to stick around in a session that's not doing you any good. And sometimes you may find an hour where there isn't a session that's to your interest. That's a good time to go hang out in the hallway and meet someone else. Go grab a snack somewhere in the convention center or around the area, or go hang out in the vendor hall. Right there's no reason that you can't have downtime during this, and any great professional learning event that lasts for 3 days is going to be intense, and so lean into that. And I like a good tired, right? When you've spent a lot of time engaging and learning and thinking about things, it's okay to be good tired, right? And lean into that. No reason to overstress yourself. Plenty of opportunities to connect with others.
Let me double down to say, make sure to eat and hydrate,
Yeah.
right? That's also an important part of this process. There is definitely times throughout the conference for those, to get lunch and all those things. But if you need to take a little break and just chill for a sec or do some thinking on your own, that's okay too, right? Like
Yeah.
it's important to take care of yourself and feed yourself, both with the food and with the knowledge as well. We'll say that. So yeah, that's it. I mean, I
Yeah.
think enjoy Seattle, right? When you're there as well in the evening. I know we can't wait for it. We love this time of year in Seattle. It's just that right kind of cold, rainy weather with two guys in Montana who are typically coming from snow, and that it's kind of fun to see a little rain and maybe a smidge of green. That's fun too. But of course, the most fun for us is connecting with all the great educators that come to the conference and then doing a lot of learning. I mean, Jason and I, even though we've been doing this for over 2 decades now, we always come back and have ideas to implement in our day job at the Montana Digital Academy. And I know this year will be no different. So
Yeah.
we look forward to seeing you. Please say hi if you see us. We'd love to meet you and chat. And can't wait to see you there.
Yep.
Jason?
Safe travels. Thanks for your time today. If you're seeing this after the fact, thanks for watching all the way to the end. And we can't wait to see you in Seattle in just 2 short weeks.
Sounds great. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.
Take care.